Well, we finally have some time here. It's been a hectic few days with the Lane Jensen baloney and my general responsibilities as well as my general blog responsibilities. I haven't had time to look at this board meeting, but I've got some time right now, and we're going to start looking at that board meeting and see what kind of information we can extract from it and see where we're going, although everybody should know where we're going already. I mean, it's pretty obvious. We'll start with the Trimet general liar. That's Neil McFarland. The general liar should be very proud of himself that he has such an unethical crew of people working for him. I mean, he's broken the sound barrier for ethical behavior here. You know, Lane Jensen being just one thing, there's multiple things going on here of a very grave concern, but the Trimet general liar just keeps on trucking. You know, you'll see the Trimet general liar never acknowledge any information that's not nice to him. Okay, he's one thing about these Trimet people, they're very focused on what their message is, and they will not even acknowledge the existence of another message. It's like, this is our message, we will only talk about our message, we will only talk about our message in positive terms, and no other message, no other people exist. This is how we will do business. And you know, this is how we have our Trimet today. This ruthless organization that just eats up everybody alive. I mean, it's just eats everybody alive, and nothing we can do about it. You know, it's just rogue, man. Anyway, without further ado, let's hear what the general liar has to say, and of course I will cut in at various points and comment on the general liar.
Bethel and members of the board, I did want to just update on a few items. First thing that I wanted to note is that I've initiated, with the help of our great staff, review of our MAX system maintenance policies and procedures. This is an independent review that will be conducted by LTK individuals that are not directly involved in our...
Stop the press right there. Trimet general liar comes up with 250 grand just like that. He wants an outside review, he gets an outside review. He needs $250,000 unplanned expense, but he gets $250,000 unplanned expense. So he's got money for everything he wants. You know, he just doesn't have money for his employees, and he doesn't have money for his riders. Although he did cough a little money up for his riders. He's restoring some high frequencies, his so-called frequent service during rush hour on some lines coming next March. So he coughed up a little money. He didn't want to do that, but he had to because he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar last year. So he had to give something back.
System, but an outside look, I think, is actually a very helpful thing as we begin to put our budget proposals together for the next year. We begin to actually invest much more heavily in our maintenance efforts and our rehabilitation efforts, and the last budget did begin to reflect that, and I believe our customers will begin to see the progress of that. As you all know, we do have an aging system, and a great example of that is our Type 2 and Type 3 light rail vehicles were all built around the same time. They're coming due for midlife rehabilitation and a great deal of additional maintenance. And the same thing is true of our rail infrastructure. Now, we have a great staff that do a great job every day in preserving these assets and working on these assets, but what we really wanted to do was get an outside look and evaluation of, for example,
right, old Uncle Neil there, he wants to get, what we really want to do is get an outside look, an outside evaluation. Right, that's a great idea. An outside evaluation that we paid for so that the outcome can be the way we desire. In other words, you know, we pay the guy's check, we'll expect a certain outcome of $250,000. Well, they'll be here a week maybe. They'll send, what, 3 guys? 4 guys? and they'll get $250,000 for that. You know how it goes. It's called pork barrel.
Protocols related to preventive maintenance and looking at our rehabilitation schedules related to each of the assets in turn. And so this outside review, I think, will help us do that. We've asked particularly for updates related to staffing sizes and investment profiles related to this to help us with the budget in next year, so make sure that we are right-sized and and financed properly to make sure that we maintain the reliability of our system over the long haul. But I just wanted to give you kind of an idea of the size of this effort on a regular, ongoing basis. But remember, we have 127 light rail vehicles, more coming before we know the budget, 102 miles of overhead electrical and track, 144 switches in our system, 314 signals and hundreds of component-free communication signals, and 58 different substations. So there's a lot, and one of the things that I would have asked is related to each of those assets. What is the right preventive maintenance schedule? What is the right rehabilitation schedule? And what is the right investment profile as we look forward? We're looking for outside help for, number one, making sure that we bring the best practices of the whole industry forward here to Trimet. And number two, frankly, we don't have the staff internally that I think are capable of doing this, so our staff will clearly be heavily invested and involved in this review. And I think this review has been very well received by our staff, noting that it's very important, and every time we do some sort of review, we learn something new, and that's an important thing. To maintain the reliability of the system. The review has a not-to-exceed cost of $245,000. This will be managed on a task order basis, so we'll try to manage below that. But just to put that in perspective, the budget for maintenance array and rail equipment management, maintenance departments, is over $36 million a year. So a little bit of insurance to sort of make sure that we're really sizing that and aiming those efforts in the right direction seems like a very wise move to me. LTK will provide us recommendations, again, on maintenance procedures, training programs, staffing levels, and any particular systems that need repair or upgrading in the very short term. We'll have a full report in 6 months, but as I noted, we'll have reviews ongoing along the way and input into the budget process along the way. So any questions board members may have on that topic?
Great. Who do I talk to today? Okay. Yes. Very quickly. Will the Trimet staff be able to augment some of their help them out, I guess?
Oh, absolutely.
The outside
will be, we'll be absolutely fully engaged and involved at all levels in this review.
And the second thing, if I may?
Sure.
All right. I would be very interested in what other type of apprenticeships, training programs they have around the country of a city, agency of this size.
Right. Well, we'll make sure to ask that question.
Thank you.
If I might continue then, I did want to bring to your attention a memo in your packet that's right after the monthly performance report. And what I will begin to do for you regularly in related to transparency of our actions is to provide you a quarterly update on any major personnel actions with non-union employees above grade 15. In this memo, just note, for example, for the first quarter of this year, there were no such actions. For the second quarter of this year, there's a series of 7 which are detailed in that packet. This is not for board action. All of these actions are filling vacancies or making some important changes within budget, and sort of managing the key personnel. And we chose to report on grade 15 and above because those are the positions that are managing programs or people or budgets, and so those, I think, are the key positions related to the non-union staff as we move ahead. A reminder, there is no across-the-board raises for non-union employees during fiscal 14.
The Trimet general liar, he's got to make sure that everybody knows that he didn't give an across-the-board raise to his 6-figure cronies this year. And why didn't he give an across-the-board raise to his 6-figure cronies this year? Because he gave an across-the-board raise to his 6-figure crony last year. He did it without bothering to tell anybody he was going to do it. And poor cronies, they're going to have to suffer this year. They're not going to be able to get a raise this year. But wait a minute. He's talking about the fiscal year, and guess what that means? That means in 6 months, he can give himself a raise again. So he's only got 6 months to go for the next raise.
Any future increases will be subject to the considerations during the budget. I would also note that if there was any associated with any of the positions, if there were budget changes required, we would obviously come to use the budget authorization before we did that. But these changes are all within current budget authorization. I also know that any salary adjustments are made with full knowledge of what the comparables are. We look at the comparable agencies and positions, both in our marketplace as well as our competitive marketplaces.
There goes the general liar trying to set up the scenario for his raise and other people's raises by saying, well, our raises will be comparative to the market. The market. You know, funny, Transit Talent, which is one of the leading websites for transit professionals, did a market research already, and I've looked at their market research, and Trimet is way over on almost every single job description. So, but Trimet and McFarland hired somebody. You see, he hired his own executive to look into the idea that his raises are not enough. And as always, just as I said in the contract, you hire some professional, you say, you need to look into this, and you tell them subtly that, oh, by the way, our salaries are too, you need to come up with some justification to raise our salaries by 10%. That's your job, and we're paying you to do that. That's what will happen here, guaranteed.
And it's important to make sure that we maintain the excellence of the Trimet staff at all levels.
Cut it right there. It's important we maintain the excellence of Trimet staff at all levels. Trimet is shit. There is no excellence at Trimet right now. Everything is unreliable, it's breaking down, everything is shit. Okay, you can try to keep putting out your great propaganda with all your little propaganda buddies out there in the field, but the system is running shitty. Okay, the place is in turmoil. There is no excellence at Trimet. Just because you say the word excellence doesn't mean there's any excellence. If anything, all of you should be getting a cut and pay, 25% cut for the horrible job you're doing running the transit system.
So, with that, unless there's any questions, I'll just move on to the next topic, which is mobile ticketing. And this is a little happy note, I think, at the end of the year, is that we had...
Oh, the goddamn mobile ticketing again. So there's 50,000 downloads and 2,000 million tickets have been bought. Who fucking cares about this? This is old news. We don't want to hear about this anymore. You got your goddamn mobile ticket. Apparently it works most of the time. It doesn't work all the time. I don't think the failure rate is as great as those TVMs, but you still haven't fixed your TVMs. They still run like shit. You know, we're sick of hearing this. We don't want to hear your stupid cell phone thing anymore. Move on, McFarland.
Broken through the 50,000 mark related to downloads of the app. And again, the business plans will sure called for them to download something like 30,000 by the end of the year. So we're well ahead of that and our projections for that. And I think it is a testament to how easy it is to use. We're beginning to see it in the system a lot. Actually, as my conversations with many operators and what you can actually, we're beginning to see a lot and actually feel that it's a very good augmentation of our otherwise paper-oriented system. Related next topic, bridge naming. Our committee is reviewing the 9,500 submissions.
Now we're on to the other nice little public relations crap thing. The Portland naming the bridge baloney. They got 9,500 suggestions. Well, they'll throw about, I'm sure it's more than half of them, because more than half of the suggestions are jokes, I'm sure, which don't get any consideration. Those are going to be weeded out, as he says. Although he shouldn't be weeded. Nothing should be weeded out. But he's going to weed them out. Oh, cut. Guess who's on the phone here? It's Lane Jensen. Well, as I was saying, the Milwaukee Light Rail Name That Bridge contest, they submit the final names to the Trimet General Liar, and the Trimet General Liar alone makes the decision. So how do we know that the Trimet General Liar hasn't already decided what the name is? We don't, do we?
A 6-week process of soliciting from the public potential names of the bridge. This marked the first time in our region's history where we actually asked the public for name suggestions for a bridge. We expect that the committee will narrow down the list, and the final, if you will, narrow list will be submitted to the public on January 16th, and then we'll have a period of time where we'll be able to solicit public feedback on that list between January 16th and March 1st. And then we can move forward its top recommendations after they hear from the public in the second round. And again, my thanks to Board Member Stovall for his participation in that effort. There's a lot of names to consider. And Mr. President, that concludes my remarks.
We are all over 10 minutes late at this moment in time. As of yesterday at 6 p.m., we had almost 100 buses in the entire fleet that were over 10 minutes late due to traffic, due to problems, due to overloading, crowding on buses. For example, the top one was Block 7240, which was 42 minutes late. Now, we're talking about frequent service here. Well, how can we have frequent service if we have buses that are running consistently late on a daily basis?